So our lead this hour comes from college football as they crank up the old excitement meter. It was, and still is, SEC Media Days as they continue. Lane Kiffin, often outspoken, he said something that caught my attention that popped up on the old sonar as he's throwing down some heat recently. I don't know if you saw this or not. Maybe you missed it. But the Ole Miss football coach, Lane Kiffin, he would like an NFL-style system for name, image, and likeness. He wants it. He would like that. Now, what does that mean? It means that a head coach or a general manager would have the ability to facilitate funds from collectives and from boosters / donors, and that every program would have a salary cap. Put a cap on it now. Put a cap on it. And that's how that would go down, according to Lane Kiffin. However, since there's no salary cap and because coaches cannot be involved legally in directing NIL funds, Lane Kiffin said, you've got a whole other set of problems. He then went on a mini rant. He went around. Just to give you an idea, I'm not making all of this up. We have a little bit of audio from SEC Media Days. This is the Ole Miss coach, Lane Kiffin, commenting on the situation with the NIL deals.
I'm sure other people said it. I said it day one. You legalized cheating, and so get ready for the people that have the most money to get the best players. And now you have it. So it is what it is. And as far as a general manager to manage that, we aren't allowed in the current system to manage what they make. So there isn't, well, we're not there yet. And I don't know that we ever will be. That's just what I said it should be, because that's what any other professional sports, which is what we are now, does.
All right, so that was his rant there, and that was the gist of it. There was some other stuff that he said. He says if you got boosters out there deciding who they're going to pay and come play, and the coach isn't involved, he says, how's that work? He asked some open-ended questions. But let us discuss. The question on this one, do you agree or disagree with Lane Kiffin's premise that there should be a salary cap on the NIL deal? So I disagree, actually. I'm going to disagree on this. I've got Worms, West, and Agua. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will make sense out of the madness is what we're going to do. First of all, Lane Kiffin, and he's not alone on this, so many other coaches also lamenting the system, the man trying to hold them down. The pendulum, there's no question, the pendulum has shifted in the opposite direction for generations. The setup was lopsided in favor of the coaches and the universities, and now things have done a 180, and it's gone the other way, and as a result, things have shifted where the players who are the top recruits are driving the bus, and we have no issue with any of that. And spoiler alert, the salary cap is not going to happen. Lane Kiffin can say he wants it and can go on. And if you think otherwise, then you're one of these people. It's the old line, tell me you're an idiot without telling me you're an idiot. Why not? You should have a salary cap. All right. So this is the tell me you're an idiot without telling me you're an idiot Lane Kiffin edition. And talk about worms. He opened the can of worms. He's done this in the past. He did it again. And as we understand it, a salary cap in college sports is a non-starter. And if you don't understand that, then you do not understand the basic rules. I'll tell you why. To start, it would violate the state statutes and likely antitrust laws as well, we are told. You see, to get a salary cap, you would need a collective bargaining agreement. That's what professional sports leagues have. They have a collective bargaining agreement, which would then, the issue of unionization would pop up for college athletes, that if you're in high school and you're planning on going to college, you have to join the union of college athletes, and they would need to be classified as officially as employees. So that would be a violation of state law. You'd have to form a union, which does not exist right now, for athletes. Both those things would have to happen. Do you see that happening anytime soon? I don't see that happening anytime soon. And it's not realistic. Secondly, why the consternation over the NIL deals. Guys like Lane Kiffin and other big-name coaches are genuinely annoyed. Now, my theory is kind of obvious here, that they had a chokehold on the flow of players in college football. I think it's amusing that Lane Kiffin's like, you've legalized cheating. When it was all done anyway, players were getting money. It was just under the table. Now they put it out in front. People are seeing the gaudy amounts of money they're passing around. So now people are uncomfortable. Some people are uncomfortable. But the biggest name coaches who were in control of everything when it came to where players go, now they are passengers. They don't control the players. And it's like the old books we used to read about the Wild West, right? You go to the Wild West and the New Frontier, they don't like the New Frontier. They're upset by it. So their solution is what? More bureaucracy. That's the solution. When in doubt, throw some red tape out. The NCAA started, you can look it up if you don't know how it started. It started with the greatest of intentions. College football was in trouble. People were dying playing college football on the field. And to protect player safety, get rid of the flying wedge, they came up with this body called the NCAA. It was called something else when it first started, but they came up with that. It had great ideas and wonderful vision, and look at what it is now. It's a hot mess. It's a hot stew. But it started out really well. And the same thing will happen here. If you have a government entity that starts to oversight where the money goes, the NIL deals, it's a bad idea, right? Get a blue ribbon panel together, a bunch of people from academia. That's the ticket. What could possibly go wrong, right? What could possibly go wrong? We need to limit how much these players get. We must put limits on it. Notice nobody wants to cap how much the coaches make. They don't care about that. It's only the problem when the players are getting a lot of the money. Now, final thought. So you have a problem, at least according to Lane Kiffin and others, Nick Saban. You've got a problem. So if you have a problem, what's the solution? Well, the MALLER think tank has been activated. Ta-da! The MALLER think tank. We believe the solution is not a salary cap. It's not a government agency to oversee all this. Which the salary cap, as we said, would not be possible under the current setup. You'd have to unionize college sports. But more so, forget government oversight. Instead, it's trust the agua, as in the water. Water seeks its own level. So the belief here is this. There will be some growing pains. There will be some bumps in the road. But eventually the boosters will self-regulate. They will realize if they get burned enough times, the big money boosters, that these players that can't miss, that either do miss or end up becoming turncoats, take the money and then run to some other school, the boosters will learn that let's cut back a little. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm banking on the fact that the market will correct itself. And again, there will be some bumpity bumps that will take place here, but they'll figure it out. The local car dealer that's handing out Lamborghinis, if enough of those players don't turn out to be good players and enough of those players turn out to be turncoats and go somewhere else, he'll stop handing out Lamborghinis. And that's just the way of the world there. And so it'll regulate itself. It'll take care of these issues one by one. All right, it is the Ben Maller Show. Now, we promised this, and so if you promise something, you got to deliver. Here we go.
It's Maller.
How about that?
To the third degree. This is when Big Ben gets grilled.
That it is, and this portion of the Ben Maller Show made possible by Discover Card. We could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards, or we could talk about how with Discover you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount and any time. I mean, talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. And now by popular demand, time shifted for higher ratings purposes. The Koopaloo.
Now, earlier you talked about Juan Soto. There were reports that said the San Diego Padres have emerged as leaders in the trade sweepstakes. And some of those reports are talking about a Fernando Tatis Jr. Soto swap. Now, I personally find that hard to believe, but let's run with it, Ben. Who would you rather have?
Okay, so I'm the Padres, and I can only have one. I would rather have Fernando Tatis. And I'll tell you, now let me explain. He's already locked up. He's got the forever contract. You know how much you're going to have to pay Tatis under the contract. He'll be in San Diego through the prime years of his career and beyond. And considering the cost of inflation, what Tatis got in gold bullion is a bargain in the crazy cartoon world of baseball. Now, there are issues with Tatis. He likes motorcycles. He likes some things that will cause him to have a short career. But all things being equal, I'd rather have him because Juan Soto has already turned down $440 million. How much higher can the Padres go? How much higher can the Padres go? And he's going to want the moon and the stars and all that, so good luck. So if you're the Padres and you had to only pick one, you'd take Tatis because you already have him signed. He's a captive audience. He can't go anywhere. That's just the way it is. Next!
Former Vikings linebacker Ben Lieber said in a recent radio appearance that he believes that the Vikings will thrive this year because Mike Zimmer simply didn't like Kirk Cousins and wouldn't let him take leadership of the team.
Yeah.
Ben, are you buying that?
No, I'm not. I mean, it's a good story and all that. Sounds good. Rah-rah. Zimmer was the problem and all this stuff. And it's an open secret. Zimmer was like a fire-breathing dragon around Kirk Cousins. He didn't even hide the fact over the last year and a half or so. But Kirk Cousins is... I'm not against him. The guy eats chicken fingers. He's a diet like I do. He's a quarterback in the NFL. But he's a mid-level quarterback. You can win a Super Bowl. To me, he's very similar to Matthew Stafford. Stafford, mid-level guy, played better than that with the Rams, with better players around him. You can get to a Super Bowl. You can win with a guy like Kirk Cousins. But you need everything clicking. And I don't think it's going to be that tremendous a difference between Kevin O'Connell, the latest disciple of Sean McVay, and Mike Zimmer. And the Vikings are about where they have been. They're a mid-level team. That they're in that division. They're better than the Bears. They're probably better than the Lions. And they're still behind the Packers. So it's not much has changed. Next!
There was a report this week talking about how Luka Doncic is unlike most other superstars and that he doesn't try to recruit other players to the team and he does not have significant input in the Mavs' decision-making. Do you respect that or is that a bad look?
Well, he's missing an opportunity, but I like it because it's from the old country. And it's not going to last. So eventually Luka's going to end up being brainwashed like everyone else in that business, and he'll be telling the owner, Mark Cuban, who to bring in. But he's taking LeVar Ball's advice right now. Stay in your lane! All right, stay in your lane! It's only temporary. Luka will eventually undergo a metamorphosis, and he'll act like all the other guys and form cliques and certain guys he wants to play with and all that. But until then, I absolutely approve it. It's a breath of fresh air. That's the way it used to be. You just go out, you do your job, and from a different era. Even Michael Jordan didn't really recruit guys to come to play for him. He just, whoever they happened to pick up, he played well with them. So, anyway.